Sihanoukville has taken 2 jobs to help give his family a better life. He drives a motorcycle rickshaw or tuk-tuk and works as a security guard at a resort in the seaside town of Sihanoukville. Lately, demand for his tuk-tuk has dropped due to a combination of the endless strife in neighboring Thailand and the global economic crisis.
Before the troubles with Thailand, there were more tourists. But now the numbers are down.
Tourism has been one of the main drivers of Cambodia's economic growth, and its recent decline has also hit the booming construction sector hard. Meanwhile, the country's main export industry, garment making, has suffered a huge slide in orders from its main markets, the US and EU.
It is being hit. I mean, this is an open economy, it's a small economy, and it's not very diversified, so there have been quite serious impacts.
From 2004 till 2007, Cambodia's economy grew at an impressive average of more than 11% a year. This year, we'll be lucky to see any growth at all. But in the Gulf of Thailand, off the coast of Sihanoukville's hometown, there is a source of hope for a boost to future economic development: oil and gas.
According to credible sources like the Cambodian National Petroleum Authority, Cambodian offshore waters holds around 2 billion barrels of oil equivalent. And Chevron have conducted tests and drilled in the area, and they're pretty optimistic about the finds there.
Chevron is not saying how much oil it thinks might be in its offshore block or when it thinks it will start commercial operations. Cambodia's government had been hoping the oil would start flowing this year, but it now admits that 2012 looks a far more realistic prospect. That delay is a blow to a country that still relies on foreign aid to fund close to half the government's budget. But it may not be entirely bad news.
If they wait for a little while longer till oil prices pick up, then they're going to get much higher returns. And you need to consider the fact that the lifespan of this field is only 10 years. So they need to maximize the returns from this.
Chevron says it still has a lot of issues to hammer out with the Cambodian government before production can begin. International agencies are also keen to see changes in a country blighted by cumbersome bureaucracy and rampant corruption.
Government systems need to be properly strengthened, and that's going to be an ongoing exercise. It's not going to be done in just a few years, but of course we need to make sure collectively that there are significant advances so that the resources, as and when they come, can be used most effectively.
We did a survey of the governance in the emerging oil and mineral sectors last year, and our findings were seriously concerning.
Global Witness monitors the link between natural resource industries and corruption.
Unless the money is used well, it could go to strengthen the positions of the ruling elite and further widen the gap between rich and poor. Also, what we've seen happen previously in the forest sector is that money generated from logging and the extraction of that resource never reached the state coffers, and what we want to try and avoid is a duplication of the same patterns occurring in the oil and mineral sectors.
Cambodia's government rejects Global Witness's concerns.
We are the latecomer. And as a latecomer, we learn from past failures of other countries, least developed countries that have oil. We are not going to use this money to pump corruption or to encourage corruption, but the money properly managed, properly monitored, and properly spent to the right place.
That's certainly the hope of people like Sihanoukville.
It might create more jobs for Cambodians. I don't know whether they will take the crude oil and refine it outside the country. If they refine it here, then it can help Cambodia become more prosperous.
Even by the optimistic estimates, the amount of oil off Cambodia's coast is modest by global standards. But for a small, poor country like Cambodia, it could still help reduce poverty, diversify the economy, and put the country on a path to more sustained economic growth.